agenda review session. It will begin now, followed immediately by the City Council meeting for Wednesday, June 2nd, 2021.
This is a public service announcement. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy has issued executive orders limiting the size of public gatherings. The City Council will now meet today with 4 voting members of the City Council remotely by telephonic conferencing system. Some city employees will also be available to participate in the same manner.
First, we'll have the approval of minutes, then report of correspondence by the city clerk. We have no public hearings. We have ordinances on second reading. 1, an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the City of New Brunswick, Title 10 for handicapped persons. 2, an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the City of New Brunswick, Title 10, one-way streets. 3, an ordinance to authorize the granting of a permanent easement for support of excavation in a portion of the right-of-way of Hardinburg Street, Division Street, and Somerset Street. 4, an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and establish a cap bank. 5, an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the City of New Brunswick, Title 3, Revenue and Finance, and to provide for amendment of the short-term tax exemption. Ordinances on first reading. 1, an ordinance of the City of New Brunswick and the County of Middlesex for an application for long-term tax exemption for 210 Somerset Street. 2, an ordinance to authorize the granting of a right-of-way and aerial easement. 3, an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the City of New Brunswick, Title 10 for traffic control signals. 4, an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the City of New Brunswick, Title 10 for no parking anytime. Then we have resolutions 1 through 24. 1, approve agenda amendments. 2, approve payroll. 3, authorize refunds for redeemed tax sale certificates. 4, approve transfer of taxi license number 42. 5, authorize tax collector to prepare and issue estimated tax bills for the 3rd installment of the 2021 taxes. 6, approve ABC liquor license renewals. 7, approve emergency temporary appropriations for 2021. 8, approve amendment of resolution R-052029 for laboratory analysis for the water utility. 9, approve authorization to advertise for the Rutgers Village Water Main Replacement Project. 10, approve request for the use of city property for Boyd Park. 11, approve request for use of city property, Bugalo Park. 12, approve request for use of city property, Memorial Stadium. 13, approve request for use of city property and street closing at Monument Square Park. 14, approve request for use of city property, Alice Jennings Archibald Park. 15, approve request for use of city property, Alice Jennings Archibald Park. 16, approve resolution to authorize release of escrow. 17, approve request for street closing at George Street between Church and Patterson. 18, set hearing date relative to continuation and termination of conditions on ABC licenses. 19, authorize amendment of resolution R-022117 for engineering inspections. 20, approve relaxation of the city noise ordinance and road closure for PSE&G. 21, release of site performance bonds in the amount of $34,479.77 to El Rancho Bar and Grill. 22, release of site performance bonds in the amount of $14,520 to Alpha Row Alumni Association. 23, release of site performance bonds in the amount of $263,093.40 to Robert Wood Johnson University. 24, approve request for street closing and use of city sidewalks, Morris Street between Livingston Avenue and George Street. Then we have items for discussion by council, OEM update, public comment. The next council meeting is June 16th. It will begin at 5:30 p.m. The meeting will now come to order. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Anderson.
Here.
Councilmember Egan is absent. Councilmember Fleming.
Here.
Council Vice President Escobar.
Here.
Council President Socorro Ludwig.
Here. Please be advised that the notice requirements of the Open Public Meeting Act have been complied with and satisfied, and that the annual notice, which gave sufficient notice of the time and place and conduct of all public meetings of the Municipal Council of the City of New Brunswick, has been filed with the city clerk, has been placed on an appropriate bulletin board and posted in the back vestibule of City Hall, visible to the public through the windows in the lobby of City Hall, New Brunswick, New Jersey, has been transmitted to the official newspaper for the city of New Brunswick, namely the Home News Tribune. Additionally, a 48-hour notice of time, place, and manner of conducting this meeting has been made by the city clerk on May 31st, 2021, as is required by law.
The city council intends to meet on a regular schedule and will meet the guidelines of the Open Public Meetings Act by utilizing a teleconferencing system through which the public may participate. The public is encouraged to call into the conference system through the phone numbers and access codes transmitted in the 48-hour notice. During the portions of the meeting that are not open for the public comment, all callers from the public will be muted. During the public comment period, those who have interest in addressing the council will first be organized by last name, then called upon to speak one time and for no longer than 5 minutes during each public comment portion of the meeting. A timer will chime at the completion of each 5-minute period, and the speaker will be notified that their time has expired. Public meeting assistants accessing the call-in number should call City Hall at 762-745-5007.
Thank you. Just a reminder, if you can please keep your phone on mute. I hear a lot of feedback from somewhere. Next, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join me in a moment of silence to reflect and honor our military personnel and law enforcement officers who dedicate their lives to protect our freedom, safety, and democracy. May God guide them safely in their duties. Thank you. Do I have a motion for the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes. Second.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming,
Yes.
Council Vice President Escobar,
Yes.
Council President Socorro Ludwig.
Yes. Madam Clerk, has the correspondence been directed to the appropriate departments?
Yes, Madam President, the correspondence received by the city clerk's office has been forwarded to the appropriate departments for further action.
Thank you. We have no public hearings. The first ordinance for discussion on second reading is an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the city of New Brunswick, Title 10, Vehicles and Traffic, Chapter 10.20, Handicap Parking, Section 10.20.010, Schedule 3.9, Parking Zones for Handicapped Persons, add 7.5 Hazard Street. We are preparing
Muted. Unmuted.
to prepare a list.
Yes,
Muted. Unmuted.
it is called. Letters A through Z, E through H, I through L, M through P,
Here.
Q through T. Can I have your name, please?
Thomas.
Can I have your last name?
Peoples.
Okay, Mr. Peoples. Q through T. U, V, W through Z. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council on this ordinance?
Oh, no, I don't want to address it on this ordinance. I got something else I want to talk about.
Okay, Mr. Peoples, you would either have to wait until, if it's on a resolution, wait for that section, or for public comment at the end of the meeting.
So I should call back, right?
You can, or you can just hold on.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, this is the last call, A through Z. If anyone else would like to speak on this ordinance? Madam President, there are no members of the public on the list.
Thank you. Can I have a motion?
Motion, move the ordinance. Second.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Council Vice President Escobar.
Yes.
Council President Socorro Ludwig.
Yes. Number 2 is an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the City of New Brunswick, Title 10, Vehicles and Traffic, Chapter 10.12, Traffic Control Regulations, Section 10.12.020, Schedule 4, One-Way Streets, 3 Hardinburg Street and Division Street. We are preparing to open the public hearing on this ordinance only for up to 5 minutes per person, one time up. Madam Clerk, will you please prepare a list?
Yes, Council President. If any members of the public wish to speak on this ordinance, please state your name when the appropriate letter of the alphabet is called. A through Z. E through H. I through L.
Charlie Cradaville.
M through P. Okay, Mr.
Did
Cradaville?
you get me? Sorry. Oh, thank you.
Yes, Mr. Cradaville. M through P. Q through T. U V. W through Z. Is there anyone else, A through Z, who wishes to address the council on this ordinance only?
I'm not sure if you heard me, Danielle Moore.
Okay, Ms. Moore, I will add you on.
Thank you.
This is the last call, A through, if you wish to speak on this ordinance. Okay, the list is now closed. Madam President, the first person on the list is Mr. Charlie Cradaville.
Thank you. Mr. Cradaville, will you please state your name, spell your last name, and give us your address for the record?
Good evening, Madam Council President, members of the council. My name is Charlie Cradaville, Kratovil. I live on Saddam Street in the 2nd Ward, and I'm the editor of New Brunswick Today. I'd like to understand what motivated the council to approve this on first reading and hold a hearing tonight to make these 2 streets one-way streets. My reading of the ordinance is it's only a temporary change to continue for a period of up to 2 years.
Muted.
Can you tell me why you see fit to make this change, but only make it temporarily? Can you hear me? Hello? Madam Council President?
Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Mr. Cradaville, can you hear me?
Now I can. Can you hear me?
Did you hear any of my response, or I can go back?
Excuse me, Council President.
Yes.
I did
there
not,
was a
unfortunately.
technical issue. Mr. Cradaville, we heard you. Council President, I think if you start your comments over again, you
Okay.
right in line.
Okay. So, Charlie, Mr. Cradaville, the primary focus of this ordinance is to create an uninterrupted traffic flow pattern around the construction site, you know, with the safety of everyone in mind, and also creating an ease of access to the emergency room at the hospital, with Hardinburg will now be one way from Hamilton Street to Somerset Street, and around the other side of the construction site will be one way from Somerset Street to Hamilton Street. And the reason it's being done by ordinance is in case we have, in case it does extend past the 2-year mark, it gives us flexibility. And it is the intention that this will revert back to an ordinary street flow pattern when the construction is complete.
All right. Well, thank you for answering my question, and please feel free to call me Charlie. I guess my thoughts on this are that it might be better to do this permanently. The only issue is there's a traffic signal at Hardinburg, but not one at Division. Could maybe Mr. Valenti comment on whether that's going to create any problems or dangers at the Division Street intersection with people making turns there right near the entrance to Robert Wood?
Sure. Mr. Valenti, would you or Mr. Roche like to give us an explanation regarding that?
Certainly, Madam Council President. The direction of Division Street will temporarily be away from Somerset, so from Somerset to Hamilton. Currently, it's a two-way intersection, and currently there's a traffic signal at Hardin. It's not going to really change the traffic pattern. In fact, it's going to simplify the traffic patterns in that Division would be one way away from Somerset. So I envision no detrimental impact to the turning motions at Division and Somerset.
Thank you. And how about at Hamilton and Division? Thank you. How about at Hamilton and Division? Is that going to, lead to a lot of people making left turns off of Division Street, and there's of course no signal there? Is it possible to get a signal there? And again, I do think this sounds like a better thing to do permanently rather than only temporarily. But can you comment on the other intersection there, Hamilton and Division?
Mr. Valenti, have you looked at that intersection in regard to the left-hand turn and the issues Mr. Cradaville was speaking to?
Well, the existing traffic pattern currently is that you have a significant amount of traffic that goes down Division, and they have the option to make a right or a left. In fact, I would suggest strongly that the intersection of Hardinburg and Hamilton is more problematic with Gilden Street and causing more turning motion. So specific to Division and Hamilton, no, we don't foresee any issues with that.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. That's a good point. Thank you. That's a good point. I do want to just ask, does this mean that the Cancer Institute would be completed within 2 years? Is that the...
Well, we're doing this. We're enacting this as an ordinance in case it runs over the 2-year time period. So I'm not going to speak to the time frame for the Cancer Institute.
Council President, the next person on the list is Ms. Danielle Moore.
Thank you. Ms. Moore, will you please state your name, spell your last name, and give your address for the record?
Hi, yes, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, yes, Danielle Moore, M-O-O-R-E, Somerset Street. My question is basically, when this project was being done, how come this wasn't introduced as far as at the planning board, saying what road was going to be closed and the changes up front before this project was introduced?
This wasn't foreseeable at that time in the planning stages, and now it's felt that it's for the safety of everybody concerned that this is a better uninterrupted traffic flow around the construction site.
So, okay, due to what you're saying, basically, this is a temporary one-way street. So basically, just like on a regular, ordinary street, every car would have to park like on a one-way street regularly.
I'm sorry, you broke up in the last part. Are you speaking to the parking on there, or I didn't hear
Yes,
you?
for the residents, yes. So have the residents been told that?
Well, they still have.
that that's gonna be a one-way street. and
Mr.
they can
Valenti,
only
was there
park one way.
notification? Mr. Valenti, were the residents of that street notified?
The residents of the street have not been notified, although everything has been a matter of public record. However, there's a high number of rental properties in that area, which primarily target students. And that is very transient from year to year, especially during the summertime. But there is a current works in the works that the residents apply. The city will be working, well, actually, DEP will be working with both the city and the parking authority to perhaps come up with other parking options. That has not been fully vetted yet, but there is a process in the works for that aspect.
Okay,
Thank you,
and
Mr.
see,
Valenti.
my main,
Did that answer your question, Ms. Moore?
Okay, thank you, because my main concern is with speaking of that, where a lot of signs would have to be reversed. If you understand what I'm saying, okay, with residential parking, street cleaning, where all the signs would have to be reversed. If this is gonna be one-way streets, that was my concern as well. And then my other concern is, I hope due to where, like I said, this should have been brought up at times due to where, is this gonna be an interaction due to where once they start the repair on Eastern Avenue and French Street as well? Well, would that be closed down for partial for repair as well soon? Is that true, Mr. Valenti, that there's gonna be a project done there between the city and the county with that road being partially closed?
That has nothing to do with this ordinance, Ms. Moore.
It's still connecting due to where, like I said, my concern with, like I said, with roads being cut off. And like I said, that's for the safety of ambulance coming in. So like I said, that's why due to where
Yeah.
I feel it should have been up to attention due to where I mentioned to you at the planning board meeting, and you said that that's where you weren't concerned on traffic issues, just like you said Somerset wasn't gonna be closed, and it was closed. But I thank you for
No one
your
ever
help.
said they
Mr.
were not
Valenti.
concerned about traffic issues.
Well, like I said, you didn't take me seriously far as
For the
traffic
record, for the record, do you have any other comments regarding this ordinance?
I just said thank you to Mr. Valenti for explaining everything fully detailed. Thank you.
Thank you. And for the record, the planning board never said they were not concerned with traffic and this project. Is there anybody else to speak on this ordinance?
No, Madam President.
Move the ordinance. Second.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Council Vice President Escobar.
Yes.
Council President Secor Ludwig.
Yes. Next, we have an ordinance to authorize the granting of a permanent easement for support of excavation, soil nails, and a portion of the right-of-way of Hardinburg Street, Division Street, and Somerset Street for the Rutgers Cancer Institute of New Jersey and associated parking decks. We are preparing to open the public hearing on this ordinance only for up to 5 minutes per person. One time up, Madam Clerk.
Unmuted.
Yes, Madam President. If any members of the public wish to speak on this ordinance, please state your name when the appropriate letter of the alphabet is called. Letters A through Z, E through H, I through L,
Charlie Cradaville.
M through P,
Danielle Moore.
okay. Q through T, U through Z.
Just want to make sure you got me, Charlie
Is there
Cradaville.
anyone else, A through Z? Yes, Mr. Cradaville.
Charlie? Okay.
Is there anyone else, A through Z, wishes to address the council? This is the last call, A through Z. The list is now closed.
Muted.
President, the first person on the list is Mr. Charlie Cradaville.
Thank you. Mr. Cradaville, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I think it would be helpful to get an explanation of what soil nails are and why this is necessary.
I can give you a general explanation that they are support for the excavation, but I'm going to ask Mr. Valencia if he'd like to say a little bit more about that.
And certainly, Madam Council President. The excavation is going to be approximately 25 feet down from the street level. In order to meet OSHA requirements as well as other safety requirements, the sides of the excavations need to be reinforced or supported temporarily. So a soil nail is essentially a rod. A hole is drilled into the stone. A rod is inserted, it's grouted in place, and then the shoring, the support for the shoring, which holds back the soil from collapsing into the excavation, is then placed and is then in place. The rods are metal. However, our concern was anything that's in the shallow area, specifically anything that's above or at the elevation of the sanitary sewers, sewer main. So the project has agreed that for the first 2 rows of soil nails, which will be below 8 feet at the curb line, they will be fiberglass. In the unlikely event that sometime in the future we may have to do a significant excavation, we're not fighting against steel rods. So these are necessary. Again, the soil nails are necessary to support the temporary shoring, which is going to reinforce the excavated walls.
Okay. Thank you for the explanation. I do want to ask, obviously we all know that the Lincoln Annex School has been sold and demolished and, transferred to the developer, but has the developer acquired the remaining properties that are needed for the associated parking deck, or has that not occurred?
I'm not sure of that at this time, Mr. Cradaville. I can find out for you and reach out to you with the answer.
Okay, that would be great. It's my understanding at least one of them has not been, acquired yet, and I'm concerned about the potential that eminent domain would be illegally used to acquire that. I would just respectfully suggest that the council should hold off on this ordinance until such time as the developers acquired the land that they need to do the project. This, seems like putting the cart before the horse a little bit, but that's my opinion, and appreciate the opportunity to share it with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cradaville.
Council President, the next person on the list is Ms. Danielle Moore.
Thank you. Ms. Moore, the floor is yours. Ms. Moore?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm not sure if this is the right.
Now we can. Can you hear? Okay.
Yeah, thank you. About what we're talking about soil, I'm able to ask this question about due to where what had with as far as with the soil has asbestos been found.
If somebody else can, I can't hear Ms. Moore clearly. Can anybody else hear her question?
Council President, we're not hearing it that well either.
You're very broken up,
Okay.
Ms. Moore. I don't know if you are on a stable line or in one place.
Okay, maybe now you can hear me. I was saying at the moment, since we're talking about the soil, am I able to ask as far as has any type of asbestos been found in the soil?
I don't know who would have an answer to that. Mr. Valenti, do you have any answer to that question?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure what, has anything been, has what been found in the soil?
Asbestos, she said.
To my knowledge, no. The first, I believe, 8 or 10 feet of excavation is what's known as historic fill. Historic fill is a terminology specific to the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, which refers to materials that have different sources. Typically, if it's historic fill, any contaminants are very low in nature, and it may be disposed of at a low hazard or a no hazard, but a contaminated site. Below that level, I believe, is all virgin shell, which is virgin soil. So, to my understanding, nothing of substantial concern has been found at this site. That's my understanding.
Thank you,
Okay,
Mr.
thank
Valenti.
you. Thank you, that's correct, that's what I did hear. Like partial asbestosis was found, but like you said, it wasn't basically in the soil. I do thank you for explaining that clearly to me, thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Madam
Valenti.
Council President, if I just may, asbestos is a natural occurring event in every soil in different parts of the country. It's when it gets concentrated for industrial purposes when it really becomes, a problematic issue for health. But as is arsenic as well, there are natural occurring elements that occur in soils everywhere. It's just a matter of what the concentrations are and whatnot. So, just using the term asbestos does not necessarily mean it's a danger. I just want to make that point.
Thank you. Thank you for the clarification. Madam Clerk, do we have any other speakers?
Council President, there are no more members of the public on the list.
Move the
Have a
ordinances.
motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming,
Yes.
Council Vice President Escobar.
Yes.
Council President Socorro Ludwig.
Yes. Next, we have an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and establish a cap bank. We're preparing to open the public hearing on this ordinance only for up to 5 minutes per person, one time up. Madam Clerk,
Unmuted.
Ellis?
Yes, Madam President. If any members of the public wish to speak on this ordinance, please state your name when the appropriate letter of the alphabet is called. Letters A through Z, E through H, I through L, M through P, Q through T, U through Z. Is there anyone else able to counsel on this ordinance? This is the last call, A through Z, if you wish to speak on this ordinance. The list is now closed.
Muted.
Can I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Council Vice President Escobar.
Yes.
Council President Socorro Ludwig.
Yes. And last, we have an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the City of New Brunswick, Title III, Revenue and Finance, and to provide for an amendment of short-term tax exemption. We are preparing to open the public hearing on this ordinance only for up to 5 minutes per person, one time up.
Unmuted.
Please prepare a list.
Yes, Madam President. If any members of the public wish to speak on this ordinance, please state your name when the appropriate letter of the alphabet is called. Letters A through Z, E through H, I through L,
Charlie Cradaville.
M through P. Okay.
Danielle Moore,
Okay, Ms. Moore?
Q through Z.
Is there anyone else, A through Z, wishes to address the council on this ordinance?
Want to make sure you got me,
This is the
Charlie
last
Cradaville.
call, A through Z. Yes, Mr. Cradaville. The list is now closed. Council President,
Muted.
first person on the list is Mr. Charlie Cradaville.
Thank you. Mr. Cradaville, the floor is yours.
Yes, Madam Council President, I would like to ask what is changing with this ordinance? What motivated the change? Whose idea was it? And what is the difference going to be once it's passed?
This is just codifying the short-term tax exemption, and we're using it to encourage development in areas in need of rehabilitation. It's a useful tool in that process, and it has to be enacted every so many years through ordinance. That's a statute. Statutorily, it has to be enacted through ordinance.
Right. So you're just reactivating it. Can you tell me, are there any developments or developers that have expressed an interest in short-term tax exemption, or is this just being done preemptively?
This is being done preemptively.
Okay. And just so I'm clear, the short-term tax exemption lasts how long? Is it 5 years or 10 years or somewhere in between?
It's 5 years, I believe, with a step back, a 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 step back, but it's a 5-year abatement.
5 years. Okay. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Council President, the next person on the list is Ms. Danielle Moore.
Thank you. Ms.
Hi,
Moore,
yes.
can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you now. That's where,
Floor
for,
is yours.
number
Floor is yours.
19, can you hear me? Hi, that's for number 19. If Mr. Valently can explain to me the $14,000 for the water main, is this still the project up towards the middle school? Is this something different?
Ms. Moore, we're still on an ordinance on second reading. We're not on the resolution yet.
Oh, I'm sorry, my apologies.
That's okay.
Okay, no
Do you have,
problem.
Madam
No,
Clerk,
you can
do
go
have
on. That was
anyone else?
my mistake.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Moore. Do you have any comments to make about the ordinance or no?
No.
Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, are there any other speakers?
No, Madam President.
Thank you. Can I have a motion?
Motion to move the ordinance? Second.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming?
Yes.
Council Vice President Escobar?
Yes.
Council President Socorro Ludwig?
Yes. Now we have ordinances on first reading. 1, ordinance of the City of New Brunswick and the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, approving the application for a long-term tax exemption and authorizing the City of New Brunswick to enter into a financial agreement with Somerset Urban Renewal LLC and granting a tax exemption for 210 Somerset Street, Block 28, Lot 1.05.
Move the ordinance setting down Wednesday, June 16, 2021 at 5:30, same day to be advertised.
Second.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming?
Yes.
Council Vice President Escobar?
Yes.
Council President Socorro Ludwig?
Yes. Next, we have an ordinance to authorize the granting of a right-of-way and aerial easement agreement to Somerset Urban Renewal LLC over, on, and across a portion of the city's right-of-way known as Plum Street.
Move the ordinance setting down Wednesday, June 16, 2021 at 5:30, same date to be advertised.
Second.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming,
Yes.
Council Vice President Escobar,
Yes.
Council President Socorro Ludwig.
Yes. Next, we have an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the city of New Brunswick, Title 10, Vehicles and Traffic, Chapter 10.12, Traffic Control Regulations, Schedule 22, Traffic Control Signals, delete Hamilton Street and Lewis Street, add Hamilton Street and Lewis Street Traffic Signal Plan, May 5th, 2021, and timing schedule, May 5th, 2021.
Move the ordinance setting down Wednesday, June 16, 2021 at 5:30, same date to be.
Second.
Councilmember Anderson, Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming,
Yes.
Council Vice President Escobar,
Yes.
Council President Socorro Ludwig.
Yes. Last, we have an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the city of New Brunswick, Title 10, Vehicles and Traffic, Chapter 10.16, Stopping, Standing, or Parking, Section 10.16.020, Schedule 2.4, no parking at any time, add Hill Street.
Move the ordinance setting down Wednesday, June 16, 2021 at 5:30, same date to be advertised.
Second.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming,
Yes.
Council Vice President Escobar,
Yes.
Council President Socorro Ludwig.
Yes. Now we have resolutions 1 through 24. At this time, we're preparing to open the meeting to public comment on the resolutions only for up to 5 minutes per person, one time up. Madam Clerk, will you please?
Unmuted.
Yes, Madam President. If any members of the public wish to speak on the resolutions only, please state your name when the appropriate letter of the alphabet is called. Letters A through Z, E through H,
I through L.
Harley Cradaville.
okay?
Hi,
Z,
I'm busy.
Danielle Moore.
I have a couple
people,
Hmm? Yeah,
Moore.
that's-
U through Z. Is there anyone else, A through Z, who wishes to address the council? This will be the last call, A through Z, if you wish to speak on the resolutions.
Make sure Danielle Moore, like, there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yes, Ms. Moore. The list is now closed.
Muted.
Person on the list is Mr. Charlie Cradaville, Madam President.
Thank you. Mr. Cradaville, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Council President. Just a couple to ask about tonight. I'll start with the fourth one is a transfer of a taxi license. Can somebody tell me the sale price of that license?
Thank you. Ms. Deladon, do you have the sale price of that?
Yes, Madam President, the sale price is $15,000.
Okay. And then moving on, I want to ask about number 18 on page 4. is some hearings on liquor licenses. And I want to ask if those hearings are going to have sworn testimony.
Mr. Shammy, are you aware of the process for this at the hearing?
Madam Council President, I'm very much aware of the process. I do not believe there'll be sworn testimony because, to my knowledge to date, none of the licensees are objecting to the reimposition of the special conditions. Should there be an objection, then we'll determine whether or not there's going to be testimony at all, or whether that testimony will be sworn, or whether counsel for the licensee will submit certain information and documentation to be considered by the council in their consideration of the reimposition of those special conditions. I guess the short answer is we'll wait and see.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Shammy.
So if I want to speak on one of these things, I wouldn't be sworn in unless there's an objection from the license holder.
That's correct. We generally don't swear witnesses in for this type of proceeding from the public who objects. That's generally just a public comment with respect to the reimposition. You're not a witness on behalf of the licensee or the state, or in this case, the city.
Okay. I do want to raise an issue just in case. So the June 16th meeting where these hearings are going to be held, is that going to be conducted in the same manner as this meeting, over the telephone, or will the meeting be held in person because the gathering limits will be lifted by then?
No, it will be, the meeting will be in the same manner as a telephonic system.
Okay. Well, I do want to raise to your attention Local Finance Notice 2020-21 issued on September 24th, 2020. Page 4 of it makes very clear that due process considerations require that all individuals giving sworn testimony be taken by video as well as audio, including during any cross-examination. This is, of course, why the Planning and Zoning Board have gone ahead and decided to use a video system that I would venture to say works quite a bit better than this telephone system that we've been stuck here for all the council meetings for over a year now using. And, you know, sometimes it works, but sometimes, including on this call, it's, you know, malfunctioned or led to confusion or problems with people making statements or asking questions, and, you know, you being able to participate in the meetings as well. So I know it seems like we're near the end of this thing, but I just want to put on the record and say on the record that, you know, these telephone meetings are subpar, and using a video system like the ones that the Planning Board and Zoning Board have used would be much more appropriate and much far superior to this one. And of course, nothing will match the ideal setting, which is doing this in person at City Hall. And so I hope that, you know, once the gathering limits are lifted, that you'll move ahead with in-person meetings and do so swiftly. But, you know, if you're going to continue to do remote meetings, please, let's use technology that's from this millennium and not continue to use this subpar system. And that's the extent of my remarks on the resolution. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Mr. Cradwell. Can I have the next speaker on the list, please?
Council President, the next person on the list is Ms. Danielle Moore.
Thank you. Ms. Moore, the floor is yours.
Hi, yes, I would like to ask for number 19. If Mr. Valently can tell me, is this a water main with a project up towards the middle school for our George Cumber being repaired? Or is this another location?
This is the project from Elizabeth to 6th. And this is for the inspections of that project.
So, okay, first, if you can tell me when this is gonna be done for the water main, because I know due to where the repaving was supposed to be done as well, but I guess they decided to postpone that to do the water main first, same thing like they're doing with Livingston Avenue.
Correct. Mr. Wallace, do you know when these inspections are going to take place?
This is to pay for the inspections. A change order was done on this project to add a couple more blocks from 4th to 6th. So it involved more inspection work, and that's what this 14,000 most of it goes for.
Okay, thank you. Then that's for us with 20, with PSC&G underground transformer. Are they basically finished doing all their underground work throughout New Brunswick?
Mr. Valenti, do you know where they are as far as all the projects that they have going on in the city?
Madam Council President, public service will be ongoing over time, replacing transformers like in kind. The entire downtown area has our utilities buried and those transformers in the ground. And depending on the age of the transformers, depending on the different changes of loads that they carry, they will need to be replaced from time to time. So this is going to be an ongoing issue. It's only going to be very infrequent. It may happen, twice a year, for example, or perhaps more. But in general, there's no project that's dedicated to replacing transformers. They do it as needed basis.
Okay, I do understand. Maybe I got it mixed
Mr.
up.
Valenti.
Because like I said, still waiting on PSC&G to clean up all the damage they've done from replacing the other meters. It's been over 1.5 years now, and still no one has came through to clean up to replace the damage they have done already. And far as with
Thank you.
number
Do you have
9.
any other questions on any other resolutions?
That's number 9. Far as what's going on with Rutgers Village again, water main replacement. To where I know it's been over.
Yes, it's a continuation of the project that's been going on out here for.
Yes, like I said,
the project that's been going on out here for.
Yeah, it's been getting a lot of
years,
attention and a lot of money.
From North.
But all right, thank you.
Well, yes, the entire area needed to be upgraded. You're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any other comments, Ms. Moore?
Oh, I said I'm good, thank you.
Thank you. Who's the next speaker, Madam Clerk?
Council President, the next person on the list is Mr. Thomas Peoples.
Thank you. Mr. Peoples, can you please state your name, spell your last name, and your address for the record, sir?
Unmuted.
Mr. Peoples?
Council President, we think he dropped off. Mr. Peoples, are you still with us? I believe he's dropped off the call.
Okay. Can I have a motion for the resolution? There's no more speakers, correct, Madam Clerk?
Correct.
Muted.
Motion?
Thank you.
Second.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming,
Yes.
Council Vice President Escobar,
Yes?
Council President Secor Ludwig.
Yes. And now we'll have items for discussion by council. I just want to start with saying that, June is Pride Awareness Month, and, New Brunswick stands in solidarity with the LGBTQ community and firmly disavows any act of discrimination and racism alike. We are a welcoming city for all people and strive for fairness to acceptance, promoting an environment where everyone can feel safe and comfortable, rejoicing in the true presence of themselves. To quote President Biden, Pride is both a jubilant, communal celebration of visibility and personal celebration of self-worth and dignity, end quote. And to our LGBTQ community, thank you for your contributions to our city, for sharing your spirit and enhancing our diverse culture. We stand as one with you and could not be the same without you. That is the only comment I have for this evening. Madam Vice President, do you have any comments?
Not at this time, thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Anderson, do you have any comments?
No, thank
Thank you. Councilman Fleming, do you have any comments?
you. No.
Thank you. And now I'll ask Director Walsh for an OEM COVID update.
Sure. Good evening. Okay, New Jersey has lifted most COVID-related restrictions. Vaccination continues to be the push locally and across the state. Everyone ages 12 and older are eligible for the COVID vaccine. Vaccinations are available at locations locally and statewide. Vaccination sites in New Brunswick can be found on our city website, cityofnewbrunswick.org, under the community calendar. In addition, free COVID testing is available locally. Dates and locations are also posted on the community calendar of our city website. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Walsh. At this time, we're preparing to open the meeting for public comment for up to 5 minutes per person, one time up. Madam Clerk, will you please prepare?
Unmuted.
Yes, Madam President. If any members of the public wish to speak during this public portion period, please state your name when the appropriate letter of the alphabet is called. Letters A through Z, E through H, I through L.
Marge Kerber.
Charlie Cradaville.
Okay, I have Ms. Kerber and Mr. Cradaville. M through P.
Danielle Moore.
Okay. Q through T. Q through Z. Is there anyone else, A through Z, who wishes to address the council? This is the last call, A through Z, to speak during the public comment. The list is now closed.
Muted.
Madam President, the first person on the list is Ms. Marge Kerber.
Thank you. Ms. Kerber, can you please state your name, spell your last name, and give us your address for the record?
Sure. Marge Kerber, Kerber, 2 Comstock Street. Okay,
Thank you.
first thing, I would like to thank Inspector Gonzalez and also Tony Barber for getting the junk cleaned up in the backyard at 9 Delavan. Can you hear me?
Yes.
There's some horrible feedback. Did you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. So I first wanted to say thank you to them for getting rid of the pile of junk, having the owner getting rid of the pile of junk. Okay, now my concerns now is, as you know, last weekend was pretty wet, and I have a dog, and I'm attempting to walk my dog in the rain, okay, and I can't even get a block on either heading towards Delavan or heading towards Hale without having to put my umbrella down because the property owners do not maintain their property, and either the trees or the hedges are so overgrown that you can't walk underneath, okay? There are a couple of city trees that are like that too, okay? But mostly homeowners, and you know, if they don't maintain their property, I'm sorry, it's ridiculous that I have to walk in the street with a dog and an umbrella at the age of 70, okay, because people don't maintain their property, okay? One of these I reported, and nothing was ever done, and that's 113-115 Nickel. There is a hedge that is so overgrown that you have to walk on the grass, and you can, and this has been this way for years, okay, and nothing has ever been done about it. Last year I trimmed the hedge, okay, I won't do it again, all right, but I would like that hedge to be trimmed back so we can walk on the sidewalk. The property next to it, 111 Nickel Avenue, okay, there's an evergreen bush right next to this hedge that's overgrown, so it's the same problem. But also on the Hale Street side, there's a tree that is so overgrown you can't walk under it. Okay. The next one is 30 Comstock. He does not maintain his property. The trees are leaning over the sidewalk. When you get rain, they are so low that you can't walk underneath it. I mean, it's really incredible. Okay. Then 144 Jones. There's a tree on the Comstock side. His property runs behind our lovely abandoned property at 148. Okay. And there's a tree that has not been cut back, and it's so overgrown you can't walk on the sidewalk. So meantime, I can't walk on either sidewalk, on either side of this tree, okay, because of all this. And that's all for now, okay, except for the city trees. The city tree, 16 Comstock is so overgrown, and 22 Baldwin is so overgrown that you can't walk underneath of it. And I'm 5'3". I can't imagine being 6 feet tall, okay. And this really is horrible, okay? There are people that are trying to sell their houses, okay? And they can't, who wants to live near this stuff? Who wants to not be able to walk on the sidewalk? I'm sorry, I'm really annoyed about this, as you can tell. I got pretty wet this past weekend. And so I would appreciate it if this stuff would be taken care of. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kerber. Mr. Julis, I made a list of the properties that she mentioned, and I will forward them to you if you could give them to the appropriate department for me and follow up.
Yes, I made a list as well. I'll make sure that I have everything you have and follow up. Thank you, Ms. Kerber.
And who is this speaking?
Thank you.
This is Michael Drulis, City Administrator.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's the next speaker, Madam Clerk?
Council President, the next person on the list is Mr. Charlie Cradaville.
Thank you. Charlie, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Council President. Wanted to ask what happened to the cannabis ordinance. Is that scheduled for a later meeting, or did it get pulled?
No, remember that was scheduled because of notice. That's on the agenda for the next meeting.
Okay, thank you. And I remember in the discussion. Thank you. And in the discussion on that ordinance, I recall somebody mentioned stuff about, you know, folks with mobility issues, and it was said that if anybody can identify a place where folks in wheelchairs or you know, with walkers can't access, that they should call Mr. Drulis. And I did call his office and left a message. I want to make sure that Mr. Drulis got my message about 89 French Street, and if he's looked into that situation. I believe the redevelopment plan there is being violated because The pedestrian path does not allow people with mobility impairments to use it. The elevator's been out of service for years. I think I've brought this up to you, Madam Council President, and the Planning Board, and anybody who will listen. So I was eager to get this before Mr. Droulis. Can he tell me if he got my message, if he's looked into this?
Mr. Droulis, have you been able to look into this?
Sure. Mr. Cradaville, I received your message. I'm sorry that when you called, I was away from my desk. I returned the call, the number that was given to me, and it went to a voicemail. So I apologize if you didn't get that message or if the number was transcribed wrong. But I left you a message to give me a call back. If you and I had spoken, what I would share with you is that all matters. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Cradaville.
I'm not saying anything. I'm
I
listening.
thought you had said something. Okay. All matters of accessibility are very important to the city. The matters that we can take action on are those in our right of way. This is not an area that is in our right of way. And so unfortunately, there's no direct ability for us to take action. But, you know, as I said, all matters are important. So we'll do what we can.
Thanks. I'll follow up. Can maybe Mr. Barron tell us if the mayor has any plans to give a state of the city speech for this year or ever?
I believe he stated earlier in the year that the mayor was not going to do that. Has that changed, Mr. Barron?
Thank you, Madam President. I have not been aware of any discussions at this point.
Okay, how about next year? Is he going to do one next year?
Mr. Barron, have you been made aware of any that he's going to give next year? One way or another?
None for two at this point either, Madam President.
Thank you.
Okay, I think the public deserves to hear from their mayor about the state of the city. Is City Hall still locked down? I mean, I understand the gathering limits are going to be lifted on Friday. When will City Hall reopen to the public? And how much of this has to do with the fact that New Brunswick is the least vaccinated city in New Jersey?
Well, I mean, that has part to do with it, but in reality, you know, we're reassessing everything all the time, and City Hall has never closed down fully. We've always been accessible to the public and to the citizens, you know, with their best health and safety in mind. And as soon as we get clear guidance from the state and feel that our constituents and the administration and people who attend our meetings are safe, then we will start to reopen. That's the best answer.
Well, I mean, other towns are getting.
We're still waiting on guidance, and we want to make sure. Right, we do have a low vaccination rate, and we are waiting on guidance.
Okay, well, other towns are getting the same guidance, and many are reopening their municipal buildings. Can anybody tell me, is the senior center going to be used as a polling place now for the primary election, or is that still off the table?
I'm fairly sure. I think it is. I think only one polling place is going to be closed. But Ms. Deladon, can you clarify that for me, please?
Yes, Madam President. The senior center will be available as a polling location. The only location that will be closed will be 53 Providence Square, which has been moved to the Hungarian Heritage Center on Somerset Street.
Thank you, Ms. Deladon, and thank you, Mr. Cradaville, for your comments.
You're welcome.
Council President, may I say something? In terms of the vaccination?
Who's next on? Council Vice President, yes.
Yes, I just wanted, I was just made aware this week that in terms of our percentage in New Brunswick, which I was surprised that we were so low with all the efforts that had been done in the city with the hospitals and the county. I was just made aware that that percentage that Governor Murphy used to report, it was based on our census from 10 years ago, the numbers of residents that we have. So if we taking into consideration that local students population is lower in last year because of the pandemic. I think that the percentage might be a little bit skewed. So we have to take in consideration that, and I believe that calculating with the number of students that we currently have or had last year, the percentage of people that at least have one dose is much higher in the city. So I just want to make sure that people know that sometimes the reports and numbers it might not be accurate if they're based on numbers that are from 10 years ago, or the number of the total population of New Brunswick 10 years ago, without counting after the pandemic. So we probably have a much higher rate on that it was reported by the state.
Thank you. That's encouraging, but unfortunately, I guess we have to go by the numbers that we have. So I know everybody is working hard and getting out in the community to take care of everything, and we're doing our best to reach everybody. Can I have the next speaker on the list, please?
Yes, Madam President, the next person on the list is Ms. Danielle Moore.
Thank you. Ms. Moore, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, just before you start speaking, I just wanted to, I just want to say something before you start speaking, before your time starts. I just wanted to thank you for the comments that you made regarding the War Memorial Park to Mr. Valenti. And I just wanted to reassure you that your concerns with the 2 signs on Handy Street are being addressed. And now your time begins and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Well, yes, I would like to say thank you to Mr. Valenti on May 24th. Yes, he did take the time to speak to me about the half an hour explaining details and everything. I do see that change of plan regarding the road being blocked off, and this is why I say things to be inspected before you say yes, due to where the whole road wasn't able to be blocked off, due to where I spoke to the owner, due to where he has the right to speak up. He pays his taxes. What about his business? And this is why I say things to be investigated before you all just say yes, yes, and looking for something to do. But I will say thank you to Mr. Valenti with correcting everything, how beautiful it is too. I will take responsibility with telling people no sitting, which I have been doing as well. One thing I will say that I'm very upset with the city. I think the 2 Mr. Bergs from Animal Control, but taking at least an hour to investigate over here. I do thank Mr. Jones, Keith Jones, for coming. Believe me, I am still very upset with Mr. Jones as well and the city, due to where I admitted to you over a year ago catching 30 mice in 1 month. It's not the landlord, it's the city, due to where, just as well as the lady said, you're not taking action, trimming your trees, not giving tickets out, maintaining properties, where I have video to show what live rats running through here during daylight, where no one could hardly do Memorial Day barbecue, having rats running through here. And like I said, I have it on video. I will put it online to show that, wow, for Mr. Jones to say, wow, nothing we can do. Wow, just because you ticketed that man 100 times over on Jones Avenue, he paid. If you ticket every person, is not going to be like that. Wow, you get a ticket, believe me, I say plenty of them respond. Nobody's going to keep paying $150. And to see as nasty as it was over here, the number 2 things that causes rats, that's high trash and dealing with your trash, as I've been telling you for the longest. And now you decide to hire more inspectors. Oh, I'm going to put this on live news to show where all the residents, it's not one area, it's going all the way from Somerset to L'Oreal, where live rats during daytime, how the animal control said, wow, babies every other month, 12 babies every other month. It's not even winter time yet. Oh, the city is going to do something, and believe me, I'm surely not going to give up where I take it to the state or what. To sit on the porch and you see rats running up and down the street. And like I said, I'm a person where I prove evidence of what I speak, where I have it on video. And for not one person over here to get a ticket, Oh, I am very disappointed with the city. And believe me, I will get all the residents to start speaking up to go at the city that they better do something for this, because it's not the tenants, it's the city. We're maintaining, making sure everyone takes care of their property just as well as the city needs to start trimming their trees everywhere to where you cannot pass through as well. Like I said, just because you all may be homeowners, God bless you, but like I said, as far as with renters, too many things aren't being seriously. And like I said, seeing rats running up and down the street, no way that I'm gonna let this go. I'm gonna take this into more matters, so the city is gonna do something about this. This is not the owners, this is the city. I will say thank you to also Mrs. Cheryl Smith for getting back to me as far as the fire hydrant on Quinton Avenue and Route 27. I will say thank you to the fire department as well for doing all the with the 2 fires they had. Thank you for the other townships. It's good to see that the fire hydrants are being flushed again at nighttime due to when people being asleep. I was told that it was only temporary because a lot of construction work is going on, but I still say it to be permanent. And then one thing for you, Ms. Ludwig, for you to say that I was threatening you at the last meeting just because I said, whoa, we were talking about running for counseling. How I want to let you know I don't have to threaten anyone. He remarked to me how he was punished. You will be punished too.
Your time is up, Ms. Moore. Your time is up, Ms. Moore. And just for clarification, and anybody who'd like to go back to the record, I simply asked a question. I didn't point a finger at anybody. Do we have any other speakers?
No, Madam President, there are no more members of the public on the list.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion. Second.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming,
Yes.
Council Vice President Escobar,
Yes.
Council President Socorro Ludwig.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.